So I don't usually do comic reviews or books that aren't in the library because that's all I read. For the most part. Of course, I'll read floppies too, but this is a review of a floppy, and that is Birds of Prey by Brian Azarello. Now, this one came out 2 years ago, and I got it right when it came out, or maybe a week later, a month at the most. And 2 years later, 2 years later, I finally decided to get down to reading it. Now, the biggest reason why I waited so long was because it's a pretty thick book, and I hadn't heard the best reviews about it. But the thickness of the book is the main reason. Now, I usually will, the most I'll read, like, right away is a 48-page book. And the reason for that is because I like to read at least one book every hour. I knew this one was going to take me more than an hour, and I had less time today than I usually do to read comics, and it's usually when I decide to read longer books like this one. It's very complicated. None of this makes sense to anybody. It's just one of my little ticks. I guess you could say not ticks. One of my weird things. Good rules. I don't know how you'd explain that. I'm gonna come up with the perfect word to describe it after I upload this video. But all in all, I like this book. It's definitely better than the movie. They actually feature the Birds of Prey. It's not just Harley Quinn and then featuring Birds of Prey. No, it's Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn, and you get to know a little bit about each and every one of them. I feel like some characters you didn't get to know as much about, which is one of the gripes about the movie. And I feel like it ends super quickly. Like, the conclusion was super rushed, and I feel like what they should have done is had an epilogue issue, or maybe they just made this a little bit longer. Honestly, for 100 pages, this almost felt like a regular ass book. It's gonna be like a 50-page book. It was that fast-paced. It's a fast-paced, fun book that does not require a whole lot of, like, first of all, a lot of continuity. You probably could read this as a first book, and some characters do appear, but I think they're all the movie characters. The only other character that appears that isn't part of the Birds of Prey is Steve Trevor, for the most part, I believe. I think maybe there's a small cameo from some other DC characters, but the main one is Steve Trevor, which was in the Wonder Woman movie. So you would have known who this was had you watched the Wonder Woman movie, obviously. My one gripe with the book is, again, it felt rushed, and I feel like we didn't get to know enough about every character. Like, some characters kind of didn't get as much spotlight, and you're like, oh yeah, I just feel like I didn't get to know much about this character. But this is coming from someone who knows at least something about all the people in this book, all the characters in this book. I don't want to use the same word, but I have to use the same word. This is coming from a guy who knows at least a little bit about each and every character in this book from the comics. So it wasn't one of those things where I was sorry, let's keep hearing noises. It's a lot of activity. Anyways, see, I could have edited that out in this too, but I'm too lazy. It's laziness, and the fact that I feel like it won't change anything if I do edit. You know, I kind of would like to have a fan base that's actually going to be there for each video. I understand, like I said before, I understand why you guys aren't. I'm not saying you should be. I'm just saying I'm not going to go through all the trouble of editing to get, again, no comments, you know. And I was talking about, oh yes, I knew enough about these characters to know, like, they're not necessarily the backstory, but to get to, like, to know and like to root for them, I guess you could say. Like, it wasn't like you knew nothing about the characters. Like, I feel like they didn't need to. Like, I feel like it would have been too much if they told you about each and every character. It would have just been wasting time for the book, for people who already know enough about these characters, like I do. And it's also written by Brian Azarello. And Brian Azarello is one of my favorite writers. He did 100 Bullets, which I liked. Cage, I liked enough. Birds of Prey, I liked. His Luther, I liked. There's nothing by this guy I haven't liked. And yeah, I've yet to read something that I don't like, which is saying a lot because I read his Cage like 4 different times, coming on the 5th time. Another gripe I had with this book, it's a huge nitpick, it doesn't take away from anything in this book, is that it's Black Label, which means 17 and up. It says it right on the back, right here, too. You would think that a 17 and up book would have a lot more than saying the S word a few times. So a lot of times. That was a main swear word they used, which a PG-13 movie can use almost like frequently. I think the most that I've seen from a PG movie has been like 42, and still got a PG-13. I don't think you would get an R rating for saying the S word too many times. And there's 3 F words in this movie. I think 4. So it was a very light R-rated movie. The violence is also pretty PG-13. It's violent, definitely there's blood, but it's animated. And usually in regards to the animation, the MPAA is a lot more lenient because it's animated. It's not realistic. And the violence here is very subdued, and there's no nudity. There's a scene in the sauna, and I think the main reason for this was because of Batman Damned. Batman Damned had so much controversy for no reason. It was a 17-up book, and of course all these stupid websites, the media got in such an uproar about it because we saw a celebrated Batman dick. Oh no. Oh, I literally thought that said I was out of storage, but it's because I charged this guy. And that was it. There was nothing else in that book that I haven't read it yet. And it's, coincidentally enough, it's also by Brian Azarello. Batman Damned, same author as Birds of Prey. I just noticed that. So I think after that, DC Comics basically was like, okay, even though it does say 17 enough, there's still some restrictions. It was really stupid because Image Comics, Saga has a lot of nudity. There's a lot of nudity in like a bunch of these indie publishers, but it's because it's characters that no one knows unless you've read the book. You know, it's not like it's. I think Spawn will be the only exception. I don't know if there's nudity in Spawn. I feel like there has to be. And butt shots don't really count for me, unless, not really. Unless it's like excessive. I mean, still nudity, I know, but like like a butt shot, it's kind of like more comedic than anything. I don't know. Like I could be talking out of my ass. But all in all, I like this book. It's not too demanding. It's not groundbreaking or anything. It's nothing special. It's just, and for $9.99, yeah, you have to ask yourself, should I buy this book or should I get like an Image Volume 1 that has 5 issues in it and has more pages than this, and I'll get more out of it than I will Birds of Prey. Yeah, if you go by that standards, maybe skip it, but I mean, its cover is pretty cool. It's by, I think at least, by J. Scott Campbell. And I feel like this book is old enough that you could probably get a discount at your local comic shop. I would be surprised if it's not in a dollar bin at least one comic shop in your area that has a dollar bin. So I would say pick it up at a discount if you're really concerned about the price. But I didn't feel like my money got wasted here, especially because Newbury Comics, my local one anyways, probably wouldn't have put this at a discount because it is so expensive. It's $9.99, but you get a lot of books. You get like a pretty thick book for $10. It's 100 pages, yeah. So you're getting what, 1 cent per page? So 10. Yes, it is. Right? I'm doing that right? Because it's $10. You divide that because it's, yeah, you could get 1. Yes, you do. I just realized, yeah, I'm right. So you get, yeah, for 10 books, for 10 pages, yeah, okay, it's only 10 cents, and it's at 10 cents, and back in my day, comics 10 cents. So if you go by that standard, it's a waste of money, but not really. I wouldn't say that. But I recommend it. It's not anything special. It's just a kind of like a palate cleanser book, I would say. And I probably will forget about it. Will forget what happened in it in a few hours, maybe even. There's already a lot that I forgot, like, even when I first finished it. And honestly, it is. I wish they had. I mean, of course, they should have fleshed it out a bit, but they should have used this comic when it came out before the movie was out, so they couldn't do this. But they used this as a backdrop for the movie. Because again, you get enough of the Birds of Prey, and you get Harley Quinn too. So those people who are just going in for Harley Quinn will get enough Harley Quinn. And again, it was just one that I feel like was very not safe, but it was a light. It was a soft R-rated book. That's how I describe it, because it's 17 up. So that's how how we refer to it. How you refer to it as. That's pretty much it. I don't want to keep saying the same things over and over again. I don't have a whole lot to say about this book either, which goes a lot to say goes a lot to say. I can't talk today apparently, which should show a lot about how like basically I'm trying to say like it's very like reminiscent of how the book is, for lack of a better word, you know. And I can't think of words. And I'll think of the word after. Maybe I should start writing on the script, but you know, even that I don't fucking need to do. Yeah, I'd say pick it up at a discount. I mean, it should be a discount by now. The book's 2 years old. I know that's not like saying much, but I mean, it's still $10 on DC's app because DC is terrible with their pricing. There are books from I think 2011 that are still full price. DC is the scummiest with their digital comics, unless it's on sale. It's the scummiest. Like even Marvel isn't that bad. Marvel, Image, Boom to an extent, although it's $2.99. They're all very they're all very safe. They're all very fair with their pricing. It's $1.99. I think all the indie publishers, all the indie publishers are the same. IDW. I just don't know. I just don't have enough. I don't own enough IDW comics to know that. Actually, I remember it now. There's actually one that gave it to you for free. There was a recent one that came out. It was Sandman Hellengone. I remember being so pissed off because they spent like what $3.99 in that book. I think it was actually more. It was like $4.99 to $5.99 because it was a thicker book. And then like a week later, it was free. So, yeah, this is still $10 on the DC app. I'd say get it physically too, because it's. I mean, unless you're opposed to physical comics, I would say get it physically too. And get this cover, I guess. This cover is pretty good. I mean, it says J. Scott Campbell and Eula Moss in the variant covers, so there's that. And again, like, this is a really, like, this is what they should have done for Birds of Prey. At least use it as a backdrop, because you get enough. It tells you enough about the characters to, you know, to know what their backstory is, know what they're doing this for. And it's just all around good. There's a few things that I was kind of confused about, like some things that like just kind of like that just happened and was kind of confused. It almost seemed like this was a continuation of another book, which it isn't, because this is supposed to be a perfect jumping on point for fans of the movie. That will probably like it's better than the movie. But yeah, TLDR at the end. This is a fast-paced book. I would pick it up, but if I were you, but if you, I recommend you pick it up. I keep stuttering. I recommend you pick it up, and that's about it. I'm gonna end this video. I keep saying the same things over and over.